Chris Berg Show, where faith and freedom reign.
One more time.
And it's a feel-good, faith-filled, fun Friday. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to help you thrive. But one of the greatest things you can do to actually thrive in life, and many of you probably know this, but we're going to kind of remind you today, and that's what really Feel-Good Friday, faith-filled, having fun is all about, is when you think about your life, like oftentimes it's so easy, especially as of late as we've been going through this COVID situation and people have been put in kind of their own places and there's been a lot of solitude and solitary and things like that. And what we find is that the people that are the happiest people on the planet are the ones that actually focus on others, the ones that focus on gratitude, but also focus on, hey, what can I do with my life to go out and actually make a difference in other people's lives? And so today, and that's what Feel Good Friday is really about, is what can you and I do as a community? Because let's be honest. I mean, you look across the world and you and I know just being here in this community, how blessed we are. There's so many times, growing up here, being a part of the media here now for the last decade, where you have these different events that come up across our community and people are in help. And it's amazing to me how often our community hears that call, steps up to the plate and says, hey, one of my fellow North Dakotans, Minnesotans needs help. I'll raise my hand. I'll show up. I'll make a difference in their life. And so we're going to dive into that today in a very, very, I think, special way. I'm going to introduce you to an organization called Lend a Hand Up. They're with the Dakota Medical Foundation. And I've been very blessed in my life. I've never, knock on this desk, I've never had a horrendous situation take place with my health where I've had a bunch of medical bills or things of that nature. And yet there's something in my heart that just has a real soft spot for Gina Pinovich, who's the executive director for Lend a Hand Up and this organization. And I think one of the reasons why is because, we all try to go out there and make plans in our lives and think, okay, I've got this figured out. I've kind of got my map for my life. I know what I'm going to do. And then all of a sudden a health situation pops up and it's so unexpected. And we're going to dive into some of this data today for you and help you understand why this is so important. And I think even more importantly, what you and I can do as a community to make a difference in some people's lives here that are going through some, not just health challenges, but also financial challenges. You may or may not be aware of this, but the number one reason in America today that people file bankruptcy, believe it or not, it's because of unpaid medical bills. These things happen to people, and if you put yourself in some of the shoes we're going to share with you today and their stories, I just want you to take a moment and imagine to yourself, like, okay, you've got a loved one. Maybe it's a son or a daughter, a husband or a wife, and all of a sudden that person comes down with some kind of disease, could be fatal. You just don't know. And you and I both know that when somebody goes ill and they're in the hospital and they're going through challenges, I mean, that is stressful enough because you're just going home every day praying like, hey, God, can you just restore this person's health? Can they be okay? And then all of a sudden you think, okay, we're kind of getting out of the woods here. This person's feeling better. And then all of a sudden this lovely letter shows up from, one of the hospitals. You're like, oh, I didn't really expect this. Let me open this up. Oh, wait a second. This has got a 6-figure bill to it. What am I going to do with this? So joining us now in studio to talk more about how Lend a Hand Up can help families in need as they're going through some of these medical challenges, medical issues, and of course, these bills. And she's got this data much better than I do. But Gina Pinovich, the executive director of Lend a Hand Up. Happy Feel Good Friday. It's great to have you here.
Thanks. Thanks for the opportunity, Chris, to talk about Lend a Hand Up, some of the families we want to help this holiday season.
So for people that aren't familiar with you, kind of give us a rundown of what Lend a Hand Up is, how it works. And I think if you wouldn't mind, because I know you know this data better than I do, but just get into the nuts and bolts of the impact that unpaid medical bills has on families.
Lend a Hand Up is a program affiliated with Dakota Medical Foundation. We've been in the community for 15 years now. Our goal is to make the most of people's time and gifts to help their neighbors in medical crisis. And we do that by providing a lot of resources. We have a crowdfunding site. We have an online auction tool. We help people host in-person benefits. And then we boost the proceeds 20% up to $5,000 per family. So where most other sites and programs profit from people's generosity, we do the opposite. We want all those funds to go to the family, and we want to make people's gifts go further. Yes, and I think you set the stage so well. I meet people every day on the job, people just like everyone else who are working hard for a living, and all of a sudden their son or daughter or themselves, they have that medical issue, whether it's an accident or that sudden diagnosis of cancer, that just becomes a spiral for them. The medical bills start piling in. For many families, they have to travel to receive that care. So on top of the medical bills are travel and lodging. Maybe their child is in the hospital. They can't work. Somebody's got to be there by their bedside or drive them to those appointments. So with all of the families that we're helping, there's always a loss of income. At the same time, there's increased medical expenses. 65% of bankruptcies are due to medical expenses, and 2/3 of those individuals have what they thought was a great insurance plan when they started. Some lose it because they don't work enough to maintain those benefits, throughout the process. But by and large, most people have good insurance, but those deductibles are getting higher, and there's things that are not covered. There are medications that aren't covered, or just a portion of them are. Again, the travel, lodging, just a whole host of medical bills. So many people lose their homes, at the same time they're
Wow.
going through these tragedies. So that's our goal with Lend a Hand Up, is to rally the good people in the community that step forward and say, you know what, I'm going to champion an online fundraiser. I'm going to host that in-person pasta feed. I'm going to rally my friends and community members to raise help. That's where we come in. We help them every step of the way, and then we boost those proceeds, because our goal is to help our neighbors through that challenging time. Lend a hand up. We want to uplift them, through that challenging situation.
And I think we all know somebody out there who's been going through some sort of medical challenge. So if you know someone like that, it can be a family, a friend, it can be anybody, right, that you're associated with, and you can still utilize Lend a Hand Up. It doesn't have to be a family member, correct?
No, it can be a coworker, a neighbor. Sometimes we have lead, champions for someone they don't know that well, but their story touched their heart and they want to help them. But it does take somebody to host that fundraiser. We don't feel these families should have to ask, for the help. It just works so much better if somebody else steps forward and says, you know what, I'm going to host that fundraiser. I'm going to post, on social media. I'm going to, make some flyers and pass them around, and we help them with all those things. But anybody can be an advocate for somebody in their community that they want to help.
And just to be clear, my understanding, and we're going to bring a couple of guests in later on in the show that have got stories where they've held fundraisers, and you guys do a really nice job giving them the tools and kind of holding their hand. So there's a lot of support. You guys have kind of made it systematic, if you will, so they can just sort of plug and play, yes?
Absolutely. Most people make that call because they want the boost funds. And at the end of the program, when we ask them, how did our resources help? Generally, they will say, the best thing was all the tools you gave us. I had no idea how to host a fundraiser. You helped us rally volunteers. You helped us contact the media. Shout out to all the media, because it's shows like this that help build awareness of neighbors. Sometimes there's somebody on the next block that has a medical crisis going on, and you don't know until you hear it on the radio or the TV. So we're so appreciative of the shout outs you give. And so we teach people, how to reach out to the media, who to contact. We also have a gift card program, gas and groceries. We have some sponsors that share upfront help in that way. But there's just so many tools. And again, unlike a national crowdfunding site, there's nobody to call. We answer the phone. We meet with every champion because we want to make sure they feel confident and they have that friend throughout the process.
Folks, you and I both know the impact or the challenges that we face in today's healthcare system, and just how oftentimes things are just so overpriced. I know there's a lot of business owners that listen here on AM 1100 The Flag. So if you're a business owner and you're thinking, gosh, you know what, I've had a really good year, because to be honest, a lot of businesses have had a really good year. Lend a Hand Up. This organization is an opportunity where you can actually use this as a tax write-off. It can maybe lower the money you're going to send to Uncle Sam, but also help some families within our community. And I want you to touch on that, Gina, if you don't mind, is that couple things. One, this is very local, right? This is all local money that's utilized, and every penny, because of the way you're set up with Dakota Medical Foundation, it's not a GoFundMe. Every penny that's raised goes to support the family that is in need, correct?
Absolutely. Dakota Medical Foundation pays for the overhead expenses, so that means that every gift that comes in goes right out to a family. All of those online fundraisers for the families on the Lend a Hand Up site are all connected to bank funds that the family manages. So the family has immediate access to those online gifts that are coming in through that online fundraiser. They don't come to us, they go directly to those families. So we're facilitating the giving, not a recipient of the giving. And then we also boost those gifts in the aftermath. We boost the proceeds. If someone wants to make a tax-deductible gift, they can make a gift to the Lend a Hand Up program. Right now we have our holiday hand up campaign going on December 1st to 15th. You know, if you're a business and you want to make a tax deductible gift and you want to make sure it helps your local community, you know, go to that holiday hand up campaign, make a tax deductible gift, and know that it's helping all these local neighbors, because those gifts are pooled to help everyone this holiday season. And we're very transparent too, Chris. If you look on our site, you can see the families we're helping right now today. You can read their stories. I mean, these are heart-wrenching stories of families who have stage 4 cancer, families who had an accident and all of a sudden they need to learn to walk and talk again, little kids, you know, just a whole host of substantial medical challenges that are really hurting these families. So again, we're that local program. We're transparent about who we help, how we help, and then we make people's gifts go further.
Jeana Pinovich is in studio with us right now. She's the executive director there. And Gina, real quickly, because I want to bring in some of your guests, but like I was going through, you've got 13 family fundraisers you're working on right now. And one of them that jumped out to me was this, and hopefully I say her name correctly, but Anna Way Maciek. She was the young 23-year-old activist that apparently passed from COVID, but has got a young infant daughter, now parentless in our community.
Yes. So the funds are to help this 9-month-old, you know, survive and thrive while family members figure out what to do. Yeah, sudden death in the family of a young woman, single parent, heart-wrenching. So she's on her way as one of the funds that we have on the Lend a Hand Up site.
And you can go to lendahandup.org if you want to see all 13 of these families. In fact, you were on earlier this week on the Need to Know Morning Show, and a person heard a particular name. They're like, oh, I'm going to go check it out and help this family. And also like, oh, wait, I know them, and I know them, and I want to help them out as well. So, again, every dollar goes a long way. And right now with the Holiday Hand Up, if you don't mind quickly, there's a way that they can actually make $10 turn into possibly $5,000.
Yes, so everyone who makes a gift to the Holiday Hand Up campaign between now and December 15th, their name will be entered into a drawing, whether it's an individual, a family, or a business. And on December 16th, we're drawing for 6 winners for $1,000 additional boosts, and then one of the boosts will actually be $5,000. So we're giving away an additional $10,000 in holiday boosts. If we draw your name because you made a $10 gift to Holiday Hand Up, you pick which family gets that boost. So through that $10 gift, if you're the winner of the $5,000 boost, you just turn your $10 gift into a $5,000 boost for one of those families.
Some of you might be saying, hey, I know a family that could use some help, but I have no idea how to run a fundraiser. We're going to introduce you to a couple people here that have actually utilized the tools from Lend a Hand Up and what made a difference for some of their families or close friends' families and whatnot. So stay with us when we come back. More about what you can do to actually make a difference in people's lives here. Lend a Hand Up has a great organization and program where they can help you go out and do fundraisers to help pay off some of these medical bills. And so we want to introduce you to a special guest in studio with us today, Lisa Spriggs. She's actually ran apparently a few of these Lend a Hand Up operations, if you will, but the most recent one was for Brandon and Huxon Cossette. So Lisa, first off, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here on a Feel Good Friday. And if you don't mind just sharing with us a little bit of your background and then how it was utilizing Lend a Hand Up to help the Cossette family, please.
Thank you, Chris. Brandon Cossette is my nephew, and his son, Huxon. Both had medical issues. Back when Brandon was an infant, he had surgery, and then had to have a liver transplant before he was age 5. Got married less than 3 years later, had a little boy, Huxon, and he had VSD and had to have open heart surgery.
The little boy did?
The little boy, yes, Huxon.
How old?
Huxon is 9 months old now. I believe
and he's already had an open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And that happened the same time Brandon had a resurgence of his medical challenges, the dad.
Yes, yep. So a few days before they were on their way to the cities to have Huxon's open heart surgery, Brandon had abdominal pain, went in and had to come back from the cities with his mom to have surgery, and found out that he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so he's been dealing with that. It seems like the two of them, the father and the son, have been in and out of the hospital, it seems like every other week. since this all came about, beginning of August.
So how's the mom doing?
She's an amazing person. She's so strong, and she seems like she's handling it really well. I'm sure it's taking a toll on her, as I know it has on Brandon's mom and myself as well. So, yeah, she's just a great person.
Please just feel free to disclose what you feel comfortable with and say, Chris, I'm going to plead the fifth on that or whatever. But do you have any idea what their medical bills are at this time?
I don't really. And I think maybe Gina had asked me that a while ago too. And that's something I never really did ask them. I just told my sister when I heard about it, I'm going to do something. And I know Paige did mention something about Huxon's surgery. He was in the hospital, I think, for 5 to 7 days, and that was $160,000.
What?
That was just the one, and then that didn't include Brandon's stays and chemo.
Could we just pause for a moment? Because, I mean, you obviously have been in this world now because it's family, right? So you understand it. For me, to hear that, like, that's jaw-dropping. So you've got a youngster, 9 months old, had open heart surgery. Just those medical bills alone was $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about how you've utilized Lend a Hand Up and the impact that they've made for the Cossette family?
Yeah, so when I mentioned to my sister I wanted to do something for them, I went online and did some research, checked GoFundMe, and wasn't happy about how they took some of the funds away from them. So I reached out to Lend a Hand Up, Gina, and started the application process, which was real easy. She let me know where to go find paperwork to download, to start an online auction. At that time, I was planning online, but did change it to have it at the main line in Downer. So we had an in-person auction and silent auction and a lunch. And so I had all the paperwork there with me, just papers to write down donors and what they donated, how much. I'd put their addresses down to write them thank you notes after the auction. It was just simple.
Lisa, you were one of the trendsetters that had an online auction along with the silent auction. You actually did both. And so that was fun for us to see how that hybrid could work well. And so we appreciate, with Lend a Hand Up, we learned something from our volunteers like Lisa every single fundraiser, and then we're like, let's add that for the next one. And so we appreciate your willingness to try new things. During COVID, not everybody is comfortable going to a big, large event. So we started hosting these online auctions, and then we love it when people can come together because there's just something so beautiful about being in that room with so many friends and family. So being able to do both provides that opportunity to give in multiple ways. And so we thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, Lisa, thank you for what you're doing here. We got another story that we want to share with people as well. So I'm going to give you the last word. Anything else you want to add or share?
I just want to thank everyone in the community that has stepped up and donated through just cash donations, items for the silent auction. It's just meant the world to me and my sister and my nephew. And then another thing, just not only the monetary donations, just the support. I think that is huge. The support that they get not only, I think, helps their outlook on things, attitude.
It really does. So please let Brandon, Huxon, and family know that they're in our thoughts and prayers, and we appreciate what you're doing for them, okay?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Great to have you here. Stay with us when we come back. We've got another person who's got a heart of gold making a difference for a local high school teacher. So one of those families that's in need right now is a local teacher at Davies High School. And so a person named Shelly Gompf, she's a doctor, has said, hey, you know what? I love this family. I want to help out and make a difference. And so just tell us a little bit about yourself and their story and what made you inspired to say, you know what? I want to help them out through Lend a Hand Up.
Sure. So I'm a self-proclaimed drama mama, and what that means is that I have theater kids, and they've been in theater since they were little wee ones, and so all the way up through high school and into college. And so I have a student at Davies Theater, and when we heard this July, an email came out to the parents that just communicated to us that Rebecca, the theater director, received the diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and was needing treatment and needing to look at a pretty long process of taking her through treatments. And so I called her, reached out to her right away, and just said, we are on deck. She does not have family in the immediate area. They live much more further away in rural North Dakota, so still North Dakotans, but not right here in the backyard. So we stepped up, as drama mamas do, and we joined forces with Lend a Hand Up to assist us in figuring out where we go from here. We knew we wanted to do something. We didn't have a clue what. We know we wanted to raise money because there was lots of financial commitments. She and her husband are both teachers. And as many of us know, teachers oftentimes don't have the largest checkbooks maybe. And so we wanted to help. And so we called up Lend a Hand Up. Actually, I looked it up online and then made the phone call. And yes, Lend a Hand Up answers the phone. And they say hello. And they give you the tools and the information. I had no idea how to run a fundraiser. I did not know how to open a benefit checking account or a savings account for this family. I did not know how to run an online auction or how to round up volunteers and do all of that. And every little detail is taken care of by this wonderful organization of Lend a Hand Up.
So when did you start, and how long was the process? And most importantly now, how is the mom doing today, and how are things going?
Yeah. So we received our word in July that this was happening. And so I started the process in early August, was probably my first phone call to Gina and the team over at Lend a Hand Up. And I just said, where do we start? And she gave me some information, a basic, just basic 10-second overview is that bank account is a really good starting point, because we need a place to put the money. Because what you'll learn from Lend a Hand Up is they don't have the money. The money goes right to the family. And so we need that, official bank account to create the funds so that the funds can go somewhere. So that was our quick, we had partners in our banking communities that step up and provide these bank accounts for us. So we partnered with one of the local banks. They helped us out as well, because I didn't know how to set up a benefit bank account, and we want to make sure that we do everything right so the family doesn't have any surprises. Because when you raise money and people all of a sudden have this $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 given to them, there's tax implications sometimes and things. And so we want to make sure you do it correctly. And Lend a Hand Up does a fantastic job of partnering with those local banks to make sure that that you're not surprised with all of those surprises when the tax season comes. So we got that bank account set up, and I would say within about 3 weeks, everything was ready for us to come in. And interestingly enough, both Lisa and I were in the training, so they don't leave you just push a button and let you on your own. We came into studio and met with the Lend a Hand Up team. They trained us on their online tools. They showed us all of the volunteer logs, all of the tools that are available for us online. We could have done it from afar and zoomed in, but they invited us into their home or into their office, and we learned all about the tools. And from that moment on, they were our partners. So we had training on the online auction tool, because we had 2 events. It was fantastic. We hosted an auction associated with our cabaret night at Davies High School. And then we also did a pop-up fundraiser for a thrift store. So because it was close to Halloween when we finally had our event, we had a costume / thrift store that popped up. And I think we raised over $7,000 on our auction, and about $3,000 to $4,000 on the thrift store pop-up. And then, of course, that's basic funds. And then, of course, Lend a Hand Up does the boost on those raised funds as well.
So can you speak to that, Gina? The boost piece, I don't totally get it. How does it work?
All of the funds go to the family that are raised through these in-person events, online auction, silent auction, whatever. The funds are immediately available to the family. And then after that, we look at it and we boost whatever they raised an additional 20%. So that boost check comes afterwards, up to $5,000 per fundraiser. It's just a way to make people's generosity go a bit further for the family. So with Lend a Hand Up, there's some upfront gift cards right away. We set up those crowdfunding sites right away. All the tools are accessible. And then afterwards is where that additional big boost check comes in, kind of a celebration of community support.
It's fantastic. I mean, 20% can make a big difference, I would presume, for some of these families, yes?
Yes, absolutely. And with Rebecca, her struggle was, one of the things I like to point out is there's insurance out there, right? Most of us are blessed to have insurance, and Rebecca is blessed to have insurance. However, we have high deductibles, and we have things that aren't covered. And then you have this thing called, you're not sick enough to get the coverage for this experimental drug, right? And so $10,000 to $20,000 of price tags can come when we just don't. We might have insurance, but it doesn't get covered. And so things are a little broken when you start to look at that. And so when she shared with me some of her details of what her options were, I could hear this woman realizing that she had to make possible decisions between whether or not she could afford an experimental drug that couldn't be covered, and choose that between that and maybe her health. And so I looked at her straight in the eye, and I said it through 2 or 3 times, and I said, you'll never make a choice based on cost. We will raise whatever money you need. You're going to go out and you're going to make the best choices for your own health, because we have partners like Lend a Hand Up and this wonderful Fargo Moorhead and greater North Dakota community that are big givers, and we've done amazing work so far, and there's still to come. Hers is still a live event. Hers is our program is still open. She's still fighting her fight as well as our last example, and we have some still events coming up, not events, but so they are putting on Grease at the Davies High School coming the 9th through the 12th of December, coming up next week. And so we're excited that she's there. She's been there. She's made it through treatments to get us to this place. Last week, I think the last week and a half has been a little setback. She had to have extra platelets and some things done. So she's had to take some days off. But we're going to produce a really cool Grease, which is one of the highlighting of the programs for theater. And we're running that show in her honor for definitely being able to fight this fight and make it work. So,
what has it meant to her to have this program?
So her quote that I absolutely sparkles my heart and probably brings tears to my eyes is that she said, "Shelly, you drama mamas showed me my village." And what a fantastic quote, because she didn't know. She's from here now, that she's been here 10, 15, 12 years, but she didn't, to go to high school here. She didn't, she wasn't raised in Fargo Moorhead. And so to know that she could stand in this community, in the Fargo public school community, and then the greater Fargo Moorhead community, and the North Dakota community, and to see this village come out to support her, she's in awe. And she's just so thankful, and her husband as well. I've received little handwritten thank you notes from the whole family, thanking us for our work, and she's just in humbling awe of the great works that people have been given.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask how much have you raised so far?
So right now, I think our website might say 8,000 to 9,000, but what's really a kind of a benefit is we also have, because of that bank account, anyone can donate directly to the bank account. So behind the scenes, we could have $6,000, $5,000, $10,000 as well. And when it's all said and done, I will print off a list and hand it off to Gina, and she will look at everything that's been deposited from Lend a Hand Up and from our self-funded things, and that will be boosted. And so right now, I think we're heading towards, I hope we're heading towards $20,000, but we don't quite know yet. We'll see.
Well, I love it too, Shelly, that with your events, you encourage participation of those high school kids as well. Mm-hmm. What a great way to mentor, the youth in our community too, to care about those individuals, their teachers, and I just love it. You had all age ranges supporting them.
And actually, a shout out to those high schoolers at Davies High School. The student body president put on a fundraiser. All the kids did these fundraising during homecoming. They did pies in the faces and other things to raise money. I think they deposited $350 or $400 into the account. Then the theater department did a fundraiser for their one of their side shows or whatever, and that was fundraised. So everything they're doing right now is just, can we help Mrs. Saari? Can we help Mrs. Saari? So it's been fun to watch that.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, because I think you look at what's going on right now across the country, and there's so much conversation around the mental health issues. And we started the show by saying, look, you want to start to improve your mental health, go out and focus on others. Go do something for somebody else.
I want to thank Shelly and Lisa for being leaders. Yeah. Lend a Hand Up supports leaders in the community with good, caring hearts that want to help someone. So if you want to help a family right now that's struggling, go to the Lend a Hand Up website, start a fundraiser, or just simply call us. We answer the phone.